listening to the Contraritics Podcast, pushing back against the insanity of this world with arguments that may or may not work. And here's your hosts, Josh the Gun Nerd and Ian the Beer Nut.
Hey, so which beer should we start with?
Well, we can start with the double chocolate stout and see if there's even a hint of chocolate.
There we go. Do you like? You're smart enough, definitely with beers, to like look at it and go, what one, if it turns out poorly, should. Well, I look at Rogue, and Rogue is hit or miss in my mind. Like,
I do feel like I don't know. I feel like we've had more stouts that have worked out with them than the other ones.
Yeah.
But then also I'm thinking more flavor profile. Like this has, I think coconut, this other one.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that once can get muted out.
Oh yeah. Once coconut hits the tongue, it's like, that's all you taste.
Yeah.
It's like having a banana, something smoothie.
Yeah.
And all you taste is banana.
Yeah. Well, I just tasted banana and I haven't tasted a banana in 3 decades.
Yeah, so... Oh, really? It's been that long?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I hate bananas. They're the worst food ever.
I have just learned to not eat banana. Like, I'm kind of... Yeah, if it's on a breakfast table, I'm eating probably everything else.
Yeah.
But if it's the only snack, I'll eat it.
Okay.
But Kim despises them.
No.
And so... But
that's
our kids eat them.
Yeah.
But, I don't really eat them anymore.
There's foods that I... Like... I was having this conversation with some students the other day, like avocados. I want to like avocados.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to grow up enough to like avocados. I just try, and it's just like it's a texture thing, which is mostly bananas, but bananas also just smell.
Have you ever said that? Tried that one on your wife? You're like, I want to love you.
Yeah.
I do. I really want to.
Help me love you.
If you could just be a different person. Yeah, so I didn't realize that Rogue was established in 1988, which is my birth year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is they say they doubled down on their chocolate stout recipe, and they're boasting about it, basically. They don't really describe anything about it. 68 IBUs.
That's high for a stout, isn't it? 68.
Yeah, maybe.
I was thinking usually in the high 30s, 40s.
Double stout, you know, like double the grain bill or whatever.
I mean, it smells chocolatey.
They on the profile they have malt, roast, sweet, chocolate, and bitter. So sweet and bitter. I'm guessing the bitter might ride out on the end.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's chocolatey.
Huh.
It reminds me, you don't get the same...
Stout brewed with natural flavor.
Yeah, it's like smelling chocolate cocoa powder.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of has, instead of just like smelling like the sweet smoothness of chocolate.
Yeah.
Like an American chocolate. This is definitely like chocolate powder kind of a...
Yeah,
smell.
it's pleasant. I mean, it's kind of a nice break from I mean, I like all things in barrels, but...
Yeah. Yeah, those can get heavy over time. It's like eating a lot of meat.
Right. And you're just like, I need something light.
Yeah. Hey, kiddo. How's it going? You want to come in and say hi? Be very careful opening the door. Go slowly.
You can creep in.
Yep. Yeah, you can... Yep, there you go.
Just step around, just act like they're lasers.
Yep, that's right. Come on over here. Good job. Look at that. You see the camera right there? Oh, you're getting cameras from all angles.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can watch us on YouTube later. I bet you that's what you want to do while you play with Legos, huh?
There you go.
You're like, sweet. Do you like listening to the podcast?
Yeah.
Are you lying?
No.
Am I like got a gun to your back telling you have to?
No.
Do you listen to it sometimes when you ride with your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when we're coming to school.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yep.
I think your face was all green the other day at school.
It looks like it's finally washed out of the corners.
Yeah.
There's a little green there.
Yeah.
Why was it all green?
Because I was Grinch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he still has a little bit right there. We just can't get out.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's really hurt.
The soft, porous skin of a first grader.
Right.
Anyways, then we gotta leave.
What's that?
We gotta leave.
Oh, you gotta leave?
Yeah,
All right.
Mama's closed.
Okay, so you're just getting your brother?
Yeah.
All right, I love you.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. See you later. You can leave the door open.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
All right. A little visit from the Tykes. I mean, we've had those through the years. I mean,
It's fun. Yeah.
saying goodnight or whatever.
Yeah. It used to kind of irritate me, like, hey, you're interrupting. Now it's like, no, we're just documenting your growth. It's fun.
This is life.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, even I have some recordings of, when I'd have it set up on the back deck before you got over or whatever, the girls would pop on and Job would put on the headphones on one side and the girls on the other. Or remember that one time we tried to have the boys on?
Yeah. They're either not thrilled at all or somewhat enamored of the concept.
Yeah, like, hey guys, this is like an audio only thing, so like you need to be
waving at the microphone.
yeah. Are you going to speak or
Not
no?
nodding.
Right.
That's a good beer.
Yeah.
I would totally recommend that.
Contraritics approved. And one that you could, I mean, we split every beer that we drink, but one that you could definitely have a whole of, and I don't think it would sit too heavy. I mean, it is a 9%er, but
it's a light duty one.
Yeah. But speaking of children, one thing that we were talking about, in light of like thinking of just raising children, what kind of children do we want to see come out of our own house, and then also as teachers, what kind of kids do we want to see developed in our classroom? And one of the tenets, or I guess graduation requirements, as they call it, is developing to be a stout image bearer. And so, how can what does it take to raise a stout image bearer? And can you just start telling your kids to be stout? Is that how that works?
Yeah. Hey, kids, be like my beer. Be stout.
Right.
Hi, baby. Stout.
Yeah, I
mean, there's an idea for a Contraritic shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Stout image bearers.
Right.
To collab with somebody on a stout image bearer. I think I'm taking that idea from somebody else I talked to, actually.
Oh, well, that's how that's how all great
all great ideas
start.
Yeah. Having like not being a reactive parent, something that I always am trying to think of, especially when I really notice that I'm being reactive instead of proactive. Like, why are my kids acting like this? Okay, like Sean talks about being a pro parent.
Yeah.
How to disciple your children into stoutness instead of react and fabricate stoutness. Like, if you are a reactive parent, you'll probably get stout kids that are really good at not listening.
Right.
Stoutly not listening, because there's an emotional response instead of raising your children in a way that you are teaching them how to respond to things and not react to things. Does that make sense? Or how to be prepared for things. I guess that would be even better. How to load their backpacks up with good stuff, so they know how to be ready for what come what may.
Yeah, and one of the things that the classroom does is forces them to deal with, to reckon with other people, whether that be the teacher or the students. And when I think of Just because all the discussion we've been having about homeschool or not, or because
Not that we're trying to decide whether we're going to homeschool or not.
no, just in our own community. I think, like I said last time, I think it's or a couple times ago, it's a worthy endeavor to do and also to recognize your weaknesses. And I think one of the hard things to make up for, however you do it, which is I think is why they have like models like classical, CC, whatever that is.
Classical conversations.
Yeah, conversations. Yeah, that is just that friction with other people. Like whether or not they're great people or not, like there should be friction. There is going to be friction in life.
Yeah.
And so just reckoning with that. And I think part of being stout is being able to handle all those different types of people.
Yeah.
And so obviously we model it first. So we do how we interact with other adults and other kids and things like that in situations, but then putting them into like a little, giving them piece by piece, like, hey, you need to start developing your own stoutness. And that can start in the home with your siblings and how they respond to you and things like that. But then they got to deal with other people they don't know that well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think having a solid church life helps if you are going to be homeschooling. I was homeschooled all but I think really 2 grades. And we were heavily involved in church. And so that was the way that we had that socialization, which is oftentimes the fear among homeschooling. I don't think it's the reality that that so many are concerned about. But just having a mindfulness to how you are going to get your kids to be that iron sharpening iron kind of environment. And so that's one of the things that comes with being in school, and especially this kind of school, is how to, you as a parent, guide your child through that, and then also as teachers, how we guide our students through that, being sturdy and dealing with all the personal problems that happen in this environment.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you mess it up in one of the most obvious ways is, being reactive, being offended, having, untouchable topics, things that you can't, the kids know they can't talk about, like they got to tiptoe around. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That, like Darren Doan talks about being precious. So your personality, your views, your proclivities being too precious, where everybody's got to tiptoe around you. That, being self-differentiated and not being precious. And I think that's something that is always good to be talking to our kids about. Is like, oh really? You got made fun of for reacting that way, having that attitude. Well, maybe you needed to. Like sometimes, and boys do that really well. When they're friends and they're making fun of each other and making sure that they know that thing they just did was gay,
right, right,
or retarded, and using words that are offensive, but also doing it out of love for each other. Like, hey, I didn't know you collected dolls. That's gay.
Right,
why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody's collecting dolls, but I'm just throwing that out there. We were talking about that recently with, I won't say exactly what it is, but because somebody might catch on. We won't blast them for it, but just a thing they do, and how that was kind of made fun of, not in a way to tear down, but to say, hey, that's weird, Yeah. Are you comfortable being weird like that? Is that something that you should be comfortable being weird like? And then, being sturdy enough to say, well, hell yeah, I'm doing this, or maybe I'll.
I didn't realize, Yeah. How whatever it is, like
Yeah.
either they're like, oh yeah, I know I'm totally weird in this way,
Yeah.
or
be weird and own it, or be weird and go, maybe I shouldn't be that weird.
right, yeah, and just being able to handle pushback and criticism.
Hey, if you're into the flat Earth, like
Right,
you own it,
just own it.
all the way, and
Yeah.
we will tear you apart.
Yeah.
Ian's like, I'm still out on that.
Oh yeah, we need to do a whole episode on that. No, not really. That's one that I have not subscribed to, but
Yep.
I do think, like you need to have put enough money in the bank,
Yeah.
in order to, before you just come out swinging and be like, boy,
Yeah.
you're a pussy.
Yeah.
You know, like
Exactly. But Dad, you've loved me this long, and now
Right.
you're making fun of me. Yeah.
right. And so, and also, don't throw up your hands if they're already a teenager. Like,
Yeah.
just realize, maybe I did mess up, and go humbly and say like, hey, I messed up. I haven't been leading you in the right way.
It's so important to actually have that restart button, reset button, where because if you're the dad that's always coming up with a new idea or always getting convicted, and then coming to the family like, and now we're doing this.
Right.
And they're like, what's going on? Like, we did this for so long. You acted this way for so long. You were against this. Now you're for it. What's going on, Dad? You have to be the man that says, yeah, we've been doing this, and we've been doing it because I thought it was the right thing, or because I was neglecting something.
I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah, I didn't realize that this was a problem. Now I'm seeing it's a problem. So, wife, children, forgive me, please, for not seeing that this is a problem in our household, and now I'm picking up on it.
Right.
I'm a little slow on the uptake. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
And move forward. But that asking for forgiveness has to happen before you make those changes. So if you're the dad that's like, man, I've been reactive. I've been seeing what you do, and then I punish you for it, but I don't disciple you. I don't guide you through that. You have to come back and say, okay, so first off, I'm the leader of the household, and when the problems arise, and I've neglected, my spot, or I've gained vision into my blind spot in this area, you have to go back and say, I've missed the boat, and please forgive me. This is a sin. Sometimes it's a lot of times it's a sin, but sometimes it's just maturity. You mature as a father. Yeah.
I realized I was being foolish and not.
I think we probably see that more when our sons get to this teenage spot where you're like, oh man, I was raising you as a child and not raising you to be a man. And so
I should have taught you this already.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm realizing I didn't verbalize this.
Yeah.
And because it is one of those things where there's a lot that is translated through example. Mm-hmm. And then there's other things where it needs to be explicitly said and enforced. And, and
you're like, why aren't they getting this? It's like, because you haven't told them, dumbass, come on.
Right. And they're picking up the things that they want to pick up from you, and you need to say, well, okay, first of all, I actually don't model this that well. I need to do better in this.
Yeah.
And so we both need to improve on this. I'm reactive when people, like whatever the thing is, and I need to get better at that, and you need to get better at this. So I'm calling both of us to this higher standard.
Yeah. I haven't led you well. It's becoming obvious.
Yeah.
Your reactivity has now pointed out my reactivity. And so now we're going to get better at this together. And that's one of those conversations where, I've had this from time to time with my kids. Like, hey, I am your father, but I'm also your brother.
Right.
Like in Christ, I'm your brother. And so that has been, I don't know if that's important to bring up all the time, but that's been a thing that there's been a few times where I have to point that out for myself in humility, and it's worked wonders with my children to go, wait, we're brothers in this? And I'm like, yeah.
Hey, we all submit to Christ, even in talking about headship and stuff like that. Like, yes, my wife submits to me, but she first submits to Christ.
Yeah.
And so I'm permitted to guide her within the realm that God has given me, not outside of that.
Yeah.
Not to tell her something that is prohibited by Scripture and what He's revealed.
Yeah.
But yeah, even just how we can help our kids overcome things that, even if we think we've modeled it really well, if they're still not getting it, maybe we haven't modeled it as well as we think we have, or we haven't verbalized it. And because everybody, each kid is different. They all process things differently.
Yeah.
You got shy ones, you got outgoing ones, you got ones that care a lot about little details, others that can't stand to talk about the details.
Yeah.
And just how to communicate with each kid. That's why, I don't think there is a manual, like I've said before, like I don't think there's a manual for, this personality profile. Like there can be helpful hints and things like that, but as far as God has made each child like a snowflake,
Some more fragile than others.
Right.
Well, isn't that interesting too? Like, I mean, there's definitely a ton of parenting books that give you like basic ideas, but the best parenting tips come from being in a community. Let me say that again. From being in a community. Let's say it like a man.
Son, this is how you talk like a man.
Yeah, I've got to totally have my podcast voice on.
Right.
In a time.
We need to have Taylor on because he's got the podcast voice.
There we go. We should.
Yeah.
We've had him on once, haven't we? About tattoos.
Oh yes.
That was a
I was
while
like,
ago.
I know we talked about having him on. Did we ever? But we did.
Yeah. We should do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be fun just for a family update.
Well, I just, because I just saw Vic for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Taylor and I was like, oh yeah, we actually had him back on, I think, or on back in 2020, I think it was.
Yeah.
Because it was in the midst of all the crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't think, maybe we didn't even say his name on there. I don't remember exactly, but for the 3 people
Now
that
you
were
know.
listening. Yeah. But now he's with the local PD because the state didn't want
sucks. Yeah, he doesn't want to be an arm of the governor that doesn't know what he's doing or knows exactly what he's doing.
and be forced to take something in the arm.
Totally, exactly. But yeah, being part of a community that will come to you, like you have many times and many other friends, and say, hey, have you thought about parenting this way? Slightly differently or a lot differently than what you're doing, or why do you do this? Or being able to say, hey, I noticed, your daughter had some growing pains when it came to like coming to school and dealing with attitudes and all that. And I had my daughter sitting right here. My little security closet office that we're recording in is right across from her classroom, and her teacher brought her in the other day and said, hey, we're dealing with some attitude issues. And so I don't think anybody can write a book as well, write a book that's helpful as well as just being in a community that says, hey, this is how I've raised my daughter because of the way she's done it, and we're a couple of years ahead of you, and we see you're having the same problem.
Yeah.
That does more than, I mean, like, what I'm saying is the people that are, on the outskirts of church involvement and community involvement, and I mean that community involvement in a church. Like, if you're just part of a group of people that are doing, like jujitsu, or playing basketball,
And that's great. There's a place for that.
there's always there's a lot of good that comes from it, but in the end, like, there is an end, and that end requires you to actually meet your maker and find out where you're heading from there, and that can only be guided through being involved in it. That can only be done well when you're being guided through a community that comes from a church.
I think the elusive part is, I guess we can so easily isolate things in our brain that the human like because we want to. So like we can separate the discipline from the teaching time. Like, okay, I'm teaching you now what to do. Now I'm going to discipline you, but you're still teaching when you're disciplining. And so like how you do a thing is you're still on the clock. Like you're always teaching. And so like that's the part where like I think we want to break things off into segments and compartmentalize and say, okay, now pay attention to me now because I'm on and I've just started my speech and listen to all the parts, take notes, and then okay, now we're off and now I can do what I go back to my thing and now you obey what I said. It's like, well, no, you're showing them how to do it by doing it all, and so if you confront them in anger, even though their sibling isn't their child, they take that and imitate it and say, well, Dad treats me like this, so why can't I treat you like this? They don't have that compartmentalization that we conveniently invent in our brain. And I think that's the part that that really requires total submission and total repentance all the way down. Because if you're just going to do it in one part, all you're going to teach them is how to be a good liar. And
definitely.
I don't think they need help being
we don't need
better liars.
We don't need to train them in that way.
Yeah, we want them to stand on our shoulders in the other ways, not in the lying ways. But yeah, I mean, I think we can go on to Fidens. I assure you, we make stouts. Is that the name of the beer?
I know, that's what I was like. I don't know what this goes back to our talk a couple episodes ago about how obtuse. I
mean, it's got some cool artwork on the front. I assure you, we make stouts.
Yeah,
that really seems like the name.
I just like going back to the labeling and all that. Like, I don't know how much restriction is done with the labeling on beers. It's very difficult with hard alcohol. There's a lot of time, and talking back and forth with the TTB on what you can have on there. You can't, you can't have like a girl in a bikini on there. But it seems like there's more leeway with beers and what they can do, because it seems like they can just rip a label off,
just put whatever they want on there.
Whatever on.
I mean, this is a collab between Timber Ales and the Fidens Brewing Company. Fidens.
Oh.
And it is an Imperial Stout aged on coconut and coffee.
I'm looking forward to that. That's like two favorite combos right there.
So it's out of Connecticut. 12%, which is kind of what you'd expect for a barrel aged something. Well, it doesn't say barrel aged. It just says
12%.
Yeah.
Wow.
It just says Imperial Stout aged on coconut and coffee, so it's not necessarily in a barrel.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how they. I mean, would you just have it in a?
In stainless.
Stainless.
I think so.
Okay.
And just throwing all those pieces into there. Man, that's a hearty looking beer right there.
It's looking, I mean...
Drink with a spoon.
Right. You definitely, if your oil's looking like this, you might have missed an oil change or something.
You're about 10,000 miles past the change point.
Yeah, I mean, that's
actually what I'm going to do today with my truck, because I'm probably well beyond. Well, we just touched hands. That was weird.
Yeah. I'll treasure it forever.
Okay.
That I like how that head sits on there.
Oh man, that's just like Easter smells. That's that like the malted egg things for Easter.
Oh yeah.
That's what that sounds right off the bat.
No, Cadbury's the wrong one, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Man,
like a Whopper almost.
Yeah. Yep. And that actually made my mouth water. I think this was just by smell alone. This was a good order to do this. Because I'm going to just smell that for a little bit.
I felt like the nose was way more well-rounded than the... I actually like the flavor, but the taste profile is more coconut heavy than I was expecting.
Oh, man. I like that combo.
Are you picking up the coffee? I'm
Lightly, very lightly.
very subtle.
Yeah. But I'm going to look for this one.
Yeah,
This is one that I could have probably 3 times a year.
I think it was. I think that was Norm's.
Okay.
I think the other one was Republic down the street here.
Oh my goodness. The nice thing about doing this way is that's a beer that I would probably get sick drinking the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this is unlike the other one, where the other one I could totally do on my own. This one is like, I mean, I think the half that we pour, it's like that's the perfect amount, you know.
Yeah.
Because it does have a lot more sweetness to it.
I like it better than the other one, and I would want less of it. Mm-hmm. And is cellaring beers in a can a thing?
It's the new thing.
Is it?
I mean, I think
because you don't have a choice a lot of times.
Well, I think it's just I think glass is more expensive, heavier to transport.
Yeah.
And I do think it kind of takes away from the experience. Like, it's just
put it in a can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like, you know, like I'll post a picture, but we just put up a shelf with a bunch of the beers that we've tasted.
Yeah.
And they're most of them are cans, but like saving a can around, you know, it's just like they're so light without liquid in them that it's like they're easily dented, and it's kind of like, you know, keeping you know, a newspaper clipping, you know, it's just like, this is really important to me, even though it's, you know, a 3x3 little clipping. It just doesn't feel substantial, you know, versus glass. Because at the end of the day, it's the label that really makes it, that tells you what the thing is.
Totally. I have a glass bottle that I paid a lot for that I'll put down on that end.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It's sitting in the closet behind me.
Oh yeah, I was wondering if you saved that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you pay that much for some glass. You better save that.
Okay.
You don't even know why. But.
Okay. Speaking of paying for glass, I was at Hagen the other day, and I don't want to hate on anybody's product, but there was Ian
shows me a picture of one that I recognize. I'm very familiar with.
Yeah, versus in terms of price points.
Yeah.
Versus you can get port cask finished. Yeah. Woodinville whiskey.
That's actually a freaking great deal right there.
For $10 less.
Yeah.
Than this other local one. But the local one,
we're friends with that one.
Yeah,
like we're with both of those. Like,
yeah, but it's just not like, it's local. But is it premium?
And so you can actually, I don't think it was us. I think it was the Tuesday whiskey club that we have on Wednesdays.
Which I sat in on.
Yeah, that was fun having you there. You should make that a habit. But man, like, labels are important.
Uh-huh.
And when if you
which is to say, aesthetics are important.
Yes.
Like how things look, how things are presented, so you can have an awesome product and display it horribly.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting too about this is, like, it doesn't matter as much with beer. Like, you have to draw somebody in with the beer.
I mean, I think if that looked like I think if it had if it looked like a floral print, like, I hate floral print, and so I would I don't know what I'm getting in this.
Yeah.
But as long as it's just, if it just says what it is, it's
but with a beer, you can change it.
Yeah.
You know, they do this beer next year, and they can change a little bit. With whiskeys, especially when you have a look as a company.
Because bottle shape changes.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, so
Woodinville's getting ready to change their bottle shape.
Oh, really?
I don't know if... I mean, I can say that to our 3 listeners, but but they're getting ready to change their bottle, and it will be recognizable, but it will be different because they actually affected the marketplace with their square bottles, the way they fit together, and they create a block on the shelf.
Rectangular prism, Josh.
Yeah.
Rectangular prism.
Yeah, that
would be
it.
crazy if it was a square. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think he said rectangle,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. Is that what it is? Something
Right.
like that. Yeah. But then in your label creates a value.
Yeah, but you were saying that it affected the marketplace, so more places were imitating them.
So they're becoming more imitated, and then becoming more
Less
visual.
Yeah.
And so they're changing that up a little bit. And I haven't seen what that change up is going to be because it hasn't been settled on yet, and because they haven't shared that with me. But they have that. We're gonna see a change, I think, in a year. Is that a good noise?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just saying that it's restarting.
All right. When you choose a label with whiskey, you actually have to go through quite a process with the TTV, and that can be a 6-month process.
Right.
And so when you have something like,
is the TTB the ATF of alcohol?
they're kind of like a new thing because government, it grows,
right?
Kind of like a fungus.
Metastasizes.
Yeah, it does. It's a cancerous growth.
Yeah.
And so it's some aspect of that where you have to.
I thought you were going to say something else. Right? It's some aspect. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh man, it just reminded me of a joke that came up earlier, and I think it might even be too dark to share in our podcast.
Okay, there you
so
go.
I won't do that.
Yep.
But having as a company, when you're starting a distillery, they say take whatever you think you need for still and double it, because if you don't, then in 5 years when you have to double it, it creates all kinds of problems to how your building is built and can handle the weight of the new still that you need, whereas just starting off with the right one. There's a whole bunch of things. Also, when you are putting a label on something, think about, is that a label you want in 10 years? Which is about where that label is that you're showing me. Probably a 10-year-old label, and it looks more like a Letterman jacket. And so you imagine wearing your Letterman jacket when you're 40 years old.
Right.
That's going to be a little awkward, but people now know that's what you look like, and you decide to grow up and put on something different. And now they don't know who you are anymore. And so you're not recognizable on a shelf because you had to change because you were growing up. And so that label is not recognizing that it needs to change in order to create value.
Right.
And so Woodinville has a label out that creates value. You look at it and you're like, that label's worth more money. And then you have the one next to it that's another local business that we have, I think that's what I was saying earlier, in our Tuesday whiskey club that meets on Wednesdays now. At one point we compared that to Woodinville, and their bourbon was actually better than Woodinville's at that point in time. Remarkably. And yet, and I think it was like $90 for the one that wasn't Woodinville.
Okay.
And Woodinville was less expensive, but it was still like a flagship style for the other distillery.
Yeah.
But when you look at that label, you don't want to spend that money on it.
Right.
Yeah,
it's weird. I'm like, it just like does not want to make me open my pocketbook.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and so you're missing out on that too. Yeah. You're actually missing out on the wonder that is in that glass.
Yeah, and this is how I think, even as a business owner or whatever group you're leading or thing that you're doing, like let's say somebody comes to us and says, like, I can't stand your podcast because Josh doesn't shave his beard, or I don't know, whatever. They nitpick something.
You don't want to see his face.
We can take that input and we can say, okay, how many people do you think we're missing out, on because Josh has a beard, or whatever the thing is, like, let's say it's actually a criticism about the camera angles or something, which I would be happy to,
at this point, we'll take that.
Yeah.
We're putting a label on ourselves, and we're learning to figure out what that label is. So.
Right. But being able to take that criticism and say, hey, I don't know if you've considered this, and go about it in a like winsome way. Like if you actually care about this person and you want them to succeed, then you would do that, not just be like, hey, your label sucks, or whatever the thing is. You'd be like, hey, I actually think way more people would buy a product if it looked like this, or like here's an example of maybe what I was thinking, or depending on how well you knew this person.
It could be so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could tell AI to take that other label and use this label to make something, but with these words.
Yeah.
Or with this.
Or with a different theme.
Yeah, a more earthy feel or whatever. Yeah. And I'm sure it could craft something that...
Because that original label was created, I think, on WordPress or Word
Art.
Word Art, yeah. Yeah.
I would believe that.
Yeah. And it's been modified slightly over the years, but not enough.
Enough. Yeah. And I mean, it is, art is personal. So especially and branding is personal, no matter what level it's at, like.
It's such a good metaphor as I think about it. Like, like the glass for that is I think from American Glass Company, and it's very standard. Like how much could your like your father-in-law is good on wearing the right clothes and having the right look, and how much more could that label and could that whiskey be sold well if it was in a different glass and a different label? It would be amazing.
Right.
And honestly, they're asking $90 a bottle for some of that stuff.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that, my guess is that a lot of companies, like take Poppy that just sold for $1 billion or somewhere close.
I just recently, like in the last week, heard that they sold to Coke. Is that what it is, or something?
Coke or Pepsi? I think it was Pepsi, but yeah, one of the big soda companies. Marketing a healthy soda, and who knows if it stays healthy once the big company owns it. But they had to change it after they went on Shark Tank, and they partnered with, they called him like the father of beverage or something, some guy that's been in the beverage game a long time. They rebranded to Poppy. I don't remember what the other name was, but I don't think it was very attractive. I think it has a like apple cider vinegar like base. A lot of them do, or something like that. Okay. And the name reflected something like that. It's more like apple medical cider, and very health nutty. Yeah. But they rebranded to Poppy, and now they're this huge brand and big money. And I think, and their cans look fun. And Job, he got he went with us on the golf match yesterday, and stopped at went across the street to the mini mart or whatever, and he wanted to get a Monster, and he's like, "Oh, this is the new flavor," and it was like Viking Berry Blast or something, and I'm what does a Viking have to do with this?
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing.
Is that one of the Death Water ones or something like that?
No, not the Liquid Death. No, it's just one of the Monsters, like one of their energy drinks. But I was like, who in the marketing department said like we need to connect Viking with Berry, and like, like I think of Vikings.
Viking with a drink, okay, whatever, weird. But then Viking and Berry is like,
I think it was Viking. If it wasn't Viking, it was something very closely associated.
I hope it was Viking Berry. Because the AI pictures that I've created in my mind already are hilarious.
Like something like a fat orange dragon.
Yeah.
But yeah, but just names like that you're just like, no, we think more people will buy it if it has Viking associated with it, not just Berry Blast, because everybody has Berry Blast, but only we have a Viking Berry Blast or whatever the thing is. I imagine that there's a bunch of brands that are so committed to their thing that they'll just die on that
their
hill.
Viking berry covered hill.
No, they'll die on the Berry Blast because they don't want to connect, whatever it is. Yeah. They don't want to pivot
Yeah.
and say, nope, actually, we're wrong. This isn't catching on, whether we like it or not. People aren't buying it, so we need to change something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was just something that struck me as I saw it in the store. But Josh, what happened that Not the Bee pointed out the other day?
Oh yeah. Speaking of soda companies,
Right. What?
Not the Bee pointed out.
I
I'm
mean-
not sure why the red bearded hillbillies on it was that part of was he part of this? But
I don't know. I think it's like
it's I've been selling my soul. Is that
yeah, selling my soul.
right wing accounts get caught shilling for pop, not soda companies over the weekend.
Right.
And
I like that first sentence that they put in the article. Here's your daily reminder that the internet is fake and gay, and you shouldn't put too much trust in people who are paid to be outraged about stuff. And they readily admit in bold letters in the next thing, this is the Not the Bee writer saying, we have featured all of these accounts on our site, so now is a good time to remind you to test everything and hold on to the good. 1 Thessalonians 5:21.
yeah, it's good.
So even if it's somebody that you have enjoyed the content from in the past, don't just take everything and say, oh, they said it's true, so it must be a good thing. Basically, I mean, what's the gist of it?
Yeah, basically that EBT, which is a
EBT accepted here.
yeah, exactly. See it like in 7-Eleven, all the other health food stores.
It's the food stamp card, basically,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and so all these influencers were so they name off like Clown World and Chad Prather and Eric Doherty. I don't know how that's
I didn't know
pronounced.
that name.
I don't know. I mean, I know Chad Prather and Clown World. I'm not sure about the other ones. Not Jerome Powell. We're coming out and saying that Coke or soda products or pop products should be you should be able to pay for those with your EBT card.
Yeah, which basically means we, the taxpayer, are paying for fat people to I'm assuming
the
the majority
get more
of them-
fat.
Yeah,
Well, because I mean, we'll just take a brief little rabbit trail out of the field and then like circle back into the from the woods back in. But did you see the video of the guy that was probably in excess of 375 pounds riding his little scooter into the side of a Tesla?
yes, I saw
I
a
think
clip
he did
of that.
more damage to himself. That'll probably come out in following days.
I was like, this is painful.
But he was basically like an EBT, baby.
Yeah.
That was mad at the world because somebody could own a Tesla and he could only drive around in his little, like therapy scooter or whatever.
Yeah.
We're paying for that guy to gain weight while drinking. So like, pounding back gallons of Mountain Dew and stuff like that. And us paying for it because that's really important.
What is the food stamp program for?
The basics.
To feed people.
Yeah, to feed people the basics.
Like,
it should really be like milk and eggs and protein. Like the
which
basics.
is healthy stuff.
Yeah,
like
those. It should not be like for buying your smokes and your soda pops.
And it's not it's not like, oh, we need to be this segment of the population, like you're oppressing them if you're not letting them get whatever the heck they want. It's like this is an assistance to help you get by, hopefully, in this hard time, and then you're off of it. It's not like
sweet. This is
eternal.
Yeah, I've been paying for my
subsidizing.
baby mama's kids with all my EBT crap.
I mean, that
Gay
sounds
retarded.
That I shouldn't have interrupted because that would have been a perfect clip for Instagram. Paying for my baby mama. But yeah, they even included a tweet from Riley Gaines. That was the chick that got beat by the trans dude.
Oh yeah.
Not like beat up, but like beat in the swimming competition. But I heard that she recently won a lawsuit
Oh nice.
against the NCAA. Anyway, she said, they offered me to pay to post. A big fat heck no. And then RFK said, thank you for your integrity, Riley. It's troubling that some companies now think they have the right to demand taxpayer money to poison our children. And whatever you think about the poison or whatever, it's not adding any nutritional value, to someone's life.
Yeah.
And if
nobody needs like vitamin Dr. Pepper.
right.
And Dr. Pepper is the best soda. So
okay, it's been settled. But I've heard somebody interviewed that worked for those soda companies, and he's like, we would petition and like we would pay like these organizations to say that denying that right for them to pay for soda with EBT, things like that, was racist. Like they would pay companies to say that was racist.
Yeah.
I mean, these soda companies will do whatever. I mean, it's just like any company that gets enough power is going to do whatever the heck they need to do to keep their place.
Yeah.
And
I have no problem with a company wanting to, look after themselves, but at the point of like, hey, we will make this a race issue.
right.
I have no love for that. I
Right.
almost said other things that it would not
You're struggling to bite your tongue.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, even the people that, because like, wait, are the soda companies, or no, are these people that are opposing this, are they going to Ku Klux Klan rallies or what? Because they just like to throw that card out. Oh, racist! You must be racist.
Yeah.
But actually, I think this demonstrates on the part of not the bees. I think it demonstrates actually what we were talking about before, where the father coming to the child and say, "Hey, not even necessarily I messed up, but like, hey, you gotta." I don't always get everything right.
Yeah.
And they weren't even saying they messed up necessarily. They're just saying, hey, just because we recommended this person doesn't mean that we recommend everything that they do or say.
Yeah.
And they themselves, I'm sure, would admit they can be wrong.
Yeah.
And so you can, and I think that especially in this viral sensation day and age where things just get passed around, and I'm like, just give it a couple beats. I'm not buying this yet.
Yep.
That the whatever the thing is that's, Trump said this, or okay, did he say that? Because I've been told for 8 years now that he said there are good people on both sides. And if you listen to the whole clip, he said not the neo-Nazi, and whatever you think about that, his statement, take it in context and say, well, he's not saying what you said he said. So
literally not.
Right. So stop saying that. Josh.
I just touched the
He
just touched the pedal.
He was about to get launched forward about approximately 3 inches, but 3 inches can make a big difference. Anyway, back to this coconut.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. But I guess those are the big beats that we talked about. For hitting this week, and honestly, we're still figuring out this video platform and stuff like that. We're very familiar with what YouTube is, but we're trying to figure out our labeling and branding.
What is our place in this world? What label should we put on our bottle, and what shape should our bottle be?
Exactly.
Man, how cool would a Contrartix whiskey bottle sticker be? We need to have some merch.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, we already, last I checked, we had 7 subscribers, so.
I think that would rep us well. If they had like a whiskey label shirt and then like a Stout image bearer beer,
Yeah.
We
could, what was that? How did you guys do the local still shirt back in the day? Was it just,
hey,
it was just
check this out.
It was just like a portal or something, right? Oh, Josh is unzipping.
Yep.
Wow, nice.
Look at that. So we'll even go backwards. We did not plan this.
No,
this I threw this on today. I said to my wife, I said, look, I haven't worn this in a long time.
Yeah.
But
and it says thelocalstill.com.
Yeah.
Here, let me take a picture of it.
Oh, yeah.
You just ruined everything.
I do that. Am I good?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
We got it.
Yeah, we actually didn't plan that at all.
I mean,
It's funny.
I don't think it's hard to believe that was very unscripted, like
Yeah.
in how we executed that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't
So-
do it the way we did it because it was a great way to make a $20 shirt that we got $1.50 off of.
Right. I mean,
You bought one. I bought
did.
3 or 4.
Yeah,
Doug bought 3 or 4, and I think we actually sold maybe 10 more
yeah. Unfortunately,
over the course of a year.
yeah. I still have mine because it's like too small. But
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean,
maybe Joe will.
once again found your old picture that I had on my phone the other day, and it still makes me laugh.
Which one?
The one with you wearing, I think, Kim's shirt,
Oh yes.
and you looked like guys, ladies. I mean,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because Ian is a happily married man,
Uh-huh.
but I think Kim's probably more attracted to you now than when you first got married. You've aged well, sir.
Yeah. Sometimes pictures pop up in memories, and I'm like,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what was happening there.
But yeah, my picture that I had of because I tend to have like really hilarious pictures of my friends for my phone. Like,
Josh,
so when
it's
they
called
call-
blackmail.
It is blackmail, and it is like every time I get a call or a text and I look at the picture and I laugh. And so yours used to be you in your wife's shirt with your pencil arms and all that you had back then.
Yeah.
It was, and you had like this like, cute little beard that it might have been like, coffee rubbed on your face.
Right,
It might have been hair where nobody knows. And you had a kind of a Karen look on your face.
Like your wife.
Yes. You looked like a good wife with a beard. If I find it, I'll throw it up on Instagram. Just
Plug that
for fun.
description into AI and see what you get.
Oh no, I'm going to start running now, and everybody knows this bot don't run. But
Well, anyway,
yeah. Anyway, that's a rabbit trail.
that's right. A worthy one. Hopefully, Aaron, you're on a treadmill right now, laughing, and no one knows what you're laughing about.
In
'cause
6 months.
You have headphones in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as fathers, as business owners, as church members, defiance and obedience, and decide what your line in the sand is. Decide where, what principles you're going to uphold based on God's standard and no one else's. And yeah, I mean that it doesn't get any easier. So just start doing the thing that you know you're supposed to be doing right now, and pray for God to bless it.
Indeed.
All right.
And buy our merch when we put it out.
Yeah. On Etsy.
There you go.
Thanks for listening to the Contraritics. Tune in next time for another dose of guns, beer, and contrarianism.